welcome back. Today we're going to talk about Blood Bowl Season 1 and the recent update that's been released by Cyanide this week. So welcome back. Let's talk about an update. Only a couple of days after we did a state of the game and where we were, Cyanide have released a further update into where we are with Blood Bowl 3 and particularly about Season 1. So let's take a look at what they've actually said. So here it is, the community update, and the big news is it's a delay of Season 1. So let's look at what they said in more detail. So they've started off with we'd like to express our heartfelt appreciation, blah, 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 blah. And basically the first paragraph's a bit of an intro into, we know Season 1's coming and we're ready to do. But we've made the difficult decision to postpone by a few weeks. So he's postponing Season 1 by a few weeks. Now, for those who don't remember, Season 1 is going to be a new faction, the first Blood Pass, so a new team, first playthrough of the detail, and remembering we were getting that for free as everyone, there was no payment linked to it at all. And then they go on to Season 1 was meant to mark the arrival of key features that are cornerstones of the competition in Blood Bowl 3, including the ladder and other features, critical features. These features will impact the game for many seasons to come, and it's vital that we take the necessary time to test them and ensure their stability. And then, we thank you for the experience, we'll keep you updated as a release date, and we'll see you on the pitch soon. So there's the update and the position from Cyan. So, it's not good news. I'd really like to be more positive about the fact of where we are, but it's pretty clear that this is not a good news piece. It is a little surprising that it's come out. If we look back to the first release of the game and when it came out, there were a lot of problems with the game, and communication came afterwards, but definitely not beforehand. So it is a bit of a surprise that we've got this update. And the fact that it says a delay for a few weeks as well, that's something that's a very unbound time statement and detail. So it's going to make it difficult to identify what and when's going to happen. If we think about what those critical features were, I think for me they bottled down to three things. There were some definitely more bugs and fixes they need to make within the game. We can see the game crashing, we can see the hang-ups and the details, and we can see skills interactions still not working within the game. We know that needed to be fixed, that's absolutely there. However, they've been playing through adding occasionally updates. We did get a few more in the first couple of weeks, but we've been living with that. I think the two big ones for me were about the competitive nature. So they mentioned the official ladder within the update. We know that we all want leagues and details, and we had a release, and we talked about it in the last video, about the admin tools that were coming for teams and leagues. I think that's one of the things that we were really looking forward to, was that ability to manage leagues, have better leagues, get into eternal leagues and see that progression and detail. And I think that's clearly not working, and that's why we can't go into Season 1. I wouldn't be surprised if there are problems around the microtransactions and detail going through that as well, with everything else they've had. I think an important thing to remember from the publisher's point of view here is that they had already told us Season 1 was going to be free. So in effect, Cyanide has got nothing new to lose by delaying this, because if they released a buggy Season 1, would they have to apologise and give us Season 2 for free? It's clear that this game's been built around those microtransactions and getting some money in through that, so they've got to make sure it's working and people are playing it. And if it doesn't work and people aren't playing, giving away stuff for free that they wanted us to pick up and buy, that's just not going to work as a business model. So I can understand why they've done it, but clearly it is a little bit surprising and a little bit difficult to take. So then let's talk about what this means. So I really want to be positive about Blood Bowl 3 and keep going into this. And I really want to hear everyone's comments to that. So if you want to talk more about it, please drop a comment below about what do you think's happened and why it's happened. and click that like and subscribe bell, and we'll keep going through the detail of what's going on with Blood Bowl. But let's talk about this from a pros and cons point of view. And let's start with some positives. And this did take a while to figure out, but I did come up with some. So let's start with the first one. It isn't going to be a buggy release in 2 weeks' time for Season 1. I'm not saying it might not be in the future, but clearly there were going to be problems with Season 1, so we've not got that pain to go through. And we did get an early warning about it. This didn't drop 24 hours before the game was meant to update. This dropped just over 2 weeks beforehand, which also defines how far away they were from making it stable, because there was no additional last crunch period to get it sorted. And we've had the clearest comms we've had in terms of there being a problem and a delay for a while. This wasn't post the action, this wasn't detail. There's clearly some critical things missing, and there's a substantial amount of work needed to fix them, as we've said we've heard the few weeks. And if we take a step back from our annoyance as players as what we want and where we wanted it, there's absolutely, let's give that publisher the time to get it right. We've seen so many games come out now with a massive day one patch and details that go into it, and updates and updates and updates. I think we're all at the position where we want Blood Bowl 3 to work and to be somewhere where the players can get in and play. So actually getting it right is really important. So those are the pros, but then let's look at the flip side and the cons of what we've got. So if we think about it from a cons point of view, the first one is no doubt this is more delays. We've waited 3 months for Season 1, and during those 3 months we've been playing through the pre-season and desperately trying to hang in there, or some of us have. There's definitely been a reduction to the player base in where we are. So it's really sad to see more delays, and it's going to be really difficult to pick the confidence up in the game. There's also something big that's clearly not working. They wouldn't make a decision to cancel Season 1, which was meant to be the big part of the game, was working through the seasons, unless something big was wrong. Are we going to have a shortened Season 1? Are we going to have shortened seasons to speed it up? Or is that time to get all the teams in the game now extended massively? Because this is the start of the seasons, and it's clearly not working. And the problem with what they've said is we've had this statement a few weeks. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure a few weeks is definitely not a fortnight, because it would have been coming out in a fortnight. So I suspect we're looking at no earlier than July. This is for a game that came out in February to have its main functionality not working till at least July. I also wonder there's something with the updates and process they need to sort out. We've seen that the Steam updates for PC have come through rapidly, quite quickly and fast, and then the console updates have been batched and go through a different certification process. Whether they are trying to sort all of that out in detail, we don't know. We haven't been told anything about that. And I think the last con, and the one that we're seeing for everyone who's not really trying to make the best out of this game, is the confidence in this game. If you haven't bought Blood Bowl 3 and you're not into it, you are definitely not going to be getting it as a result of this update and detail. And for those who are on the fence and thinking about it, you've probably put this into the I'll come back to it in 6 months' time. And that's after you said I'd come back to it in 3 months' time. So I think it's really struggling for confidence in the game. But I'd really appreciate knowing what your comments are and details about where we are. Hopefully we'll get an update in a couple of weeks' time, but I suspect we won't get anything until the end of May now at least. Hopefully we'll still get some games in, keep playing through, and let's see what next comes with Blood Bowl 3 and where we go. It was a sad update, but at least we know where we are. I'll see you all soon on the pitch.